Hello guys, today I'm coming with a quick blood decay guide for Season 2 PvP Solo Shuffle and Blitz Battleground. So let's get into it immediately to not waste any time. First, the Rune. So regarding Rune, we will use the Rune of Sanguination. Because of Death Strike, the lower HP the enemy has, the more damage it will deal. And of course it has this passive that's gonna heal you if you get low on HP. Tier set and gearing. So we will need the 4-tier set. 2 set gives us Ice Bond Fortitude for 4 seconds sometimes when we take damage, and we combine that with Bloody Fortitude from Sand Lane, hero talent. This is a great synergy, nice damage reduction. The 2 set bonus gives us 7.5% increased damage for 12 seconds when Lucky of the Draw activates. And while it's active, our Death Strike costs 10 runic power less and hits 2 additional targets. First, get the 2 set. I prefer that you get head first with Conquest and use the Catalyst to make it a tier set item. After, you get 1.6k rating in any kind of bracket. Don't forget to use the Crystallized Essence of Kajamite. This will be an item and it will be in your bag, and this will give you another stack so that you can transform another item into a tier set. Please note that you're not getting anymore a free tier set item once you get 1.6k rating. So basically you will just get the ability to transform one of the conquest items that you bought into a tier set. Now don't worry if you messed up. As a plan B, just like I did here, as you see, I did buy the Bloody Token hands and I transformed it into a tier set. So be sure to do the weekly quest to get 1k bloody tokens by collecting sparks, and you can do the world quest for additional bloody tokens. Some drop 100 bloody tokens, and the PvP ones drop you, like this one, even 500 bloody tokens. Of course, it's weekly capped as well. Now, as you know, after your first battleground that you win, you will get the quest to get 9 of these Prize Gladiators Heraldry. Use them, craft 1 neck and 1 ring with haste verse, and craft another ring with verse mastery. Now as you see, I have them all already socketed. You can transfer honor from your other characters and fully socket them and enchant. Now regarding stat priority, as always I prefer that you get first enough haste to get around 1.23 global cooldown in PvP. So as you see, I have right now 122, so 120 to 125, around that point I prefer that you have, and then you can use that same gear for both Frost and Unholy. Now for Frost, of course, I would prefer to play dual wielding. Anyway, if you wish to see the global cooldown and these stats, you will have to find these add-ons. One is called Deja Character Stats, and the other one is called True Stat Values. This shows you the diminishing returns, what you see here, loss rating, true rating. So if you go above this 23,400, let's say for versatility, you get a penalty and you start losing versatility. What I mean by that you don't get so much versatility later, the more stats you have. Now, I prefer, after you got enough haste, that you get around 10 to 15% crit chance. If possible, get 15% at least. That would be great for Frost and for Blood as well. Versatility, I prefer that you have at least around 20%. You can go higher if you wish, up to 25, but no need to go above that. And the rest you can stack Mastery. Now for embellishments, for Blood, I prefer to use Ascendance and the Nerubian one to double its effect. However, for that we need to craft a weapon, what I personally won't do since I will get a free conquest weapon in the 3rd week of this season. And if you wish to gear up fast, I prefer that you do the same. Later in the season we will do adjustments. If need, we will craft a 2-handed weapon with Ascendance. So for now I prefer to use twice the length embellishment, because this is great for Frost as well. Now as you see, I haven't placed these embellishments on my rings. I placed them on the feet and on the back. Now what's the reason? Why did I do that? Well, if I get a weapon with Ascendance later on, it's much easier to just get another back and feet and enchant it. Of course I will get the back with the effect double descendants effect. This one. It's better than getting 2 new crafted rings, for which I need 4 prized jeweler settings and 4 gems, 2 enchants. You probably get it how much more that costs. So I rather get it on the back, this, and on the weapon. So I will just have to drop these boots. I get another boots without any of the embellishment, and problem solved. Now regarding enchants. Enchants get the leech back with the regeneration, boots, wrist with movement speed, chest, crystalline radiance, and legs with strength stamina. Rings enchants I go mastery temporarily, and sockets mastery and worse, but I might adjust these once I'm full gear to get the stats what I mentioned before. Talents, nothing much to talk about. This is, let's say, my main build for arena. Of course, sometimes I go for the long grips, sometimes I go for more magic damage reduction, or I need the root to spam it on a specific melee class. But basically left side is always experimental. You can always change to get cold tourist so that you have more interrupts, or you want maybe to have lower cooldown on your AMZ or something like that. But what is important for me to have brittle, because this is 6% increased damage, and when we apply the blood plague with our rune weapons, we can stack up multiple dots, so there's a bigger chance to get this active. Now on the right side, this is basically my full damage build. Why do I call it full damage build? Well, because I take Sanguine Ground to increase. This gives me another 6% damage increase. So we have Brittle that gives another 6% damage increase. Then we have Perseverance of the Ebon Blade, which gives you 6% versatility when it procs. When you stand in your death and decay. Hemostasis, this increases our death strike damage. We stack it up to 5 times with Blood Boil. Heart Rend increases the death strike damage by 20%, and then of course we are spamming our Frenzied Bloodthirst, which has been nerfed by 50% in PvP. And with the Gift of Sen Lane, we get another 63% damage increase now. So do not expect as a Blood DK to deal some crazy damage because you want. If your Dancing Rune weapon is up and if you get some crits, you can hit, you combine the damage that you deal with Death Strike around 1.4 million, 1.2 million, and the Death Strikes from Dancing Rune weapon, right? The 2 weapons, so you can hit up to like 2 million damage plus minus. Now as you see, I'm using Consumption. This causes your blood plague damage to occur 30% more quickly. This is great if you can combine Dancing Rune weapon to put 3 dots on them. You use Bone Storm and Tombstone to reset it immediately and put another 3 stacks on the enemy, and then you just Consumption so they proc more. But basically I'm using this because sometimes I waste all my runes, and this is a backup so that I can still cast Heart Strike and it has a little healing effect. I mostly used Rune Tap before, but I'm experimenting to use Consumption a bit. And that's pretty much it for Solo Shuffle. In PvP talents, always Last Dance, the Composing Aura, and Spell Warden, very good against Magic CC and the Absorb Damage. Pure party member alive, if there is magic damage. Bloodforged if it's a heavy melee comp and you think that they will maybe go on you, or basically just to reduce the damage you take. Strangulate I wouldn't use as a blood DK because we already have Gorfin's Grasp, which is an AoE silence. So this would just put it on DR and it would literally be useless, so it's better to use Asphyxiate. The other talents, you can play a bit around with Dark Simulacrum if you wish, or Death Chain. But yeah, I use mainly Spell Warden, Bloodforged, and the other ones are pretty useless to me. Now for PvP, Battleground, I'm using this build. I'm using the zone with lower cooldown. I'm going for Leech over here, because I want self-healing, you know, and we get more Leech over here. So I could even go here Leech, but I like this one now because of the tier set much more. I think this is much better now to use. Basically I'm using Rune Tap and all of these talents. As you see, I'm not using this one, Sanguine Ground, so I'm not focused on damage, neither I'm using Perseverance of the Ebon Blade. I am focusing more on the survivability. Now, regarding rotation, typical Death and Decay, Dancing Rune weapons, stacking up Frenzied Bloodthirst. After we have the full stack, we consume one Blood Plague, reapply the dot, we use Bone Storm and Tombstone to immediately reset our Dancing Rune weapon, and now we can hit some stronger death strikes. Now in PvP, it's, as I said before, it's not gonna deal crazy much damage because people have now more versatility and because of specific defensives classes have, so yeah. Still, you can have some fun with Blood Decay. I hope this was to some degree informative to you. For Battleground, I still think Blood Decay will be pretty good. And probably in Arena as well. It's not gonna be terrible, but not gonna be crazy strong neither. I think right now, out of the 3 classes, probably Frost is the strongest with the damage, even though we lost, sadly, the Remorseless Winterstone. And maybe Unholy is gonna get stronger and stronger as we get the tier set. You can check out my other video that I made, the guide for Blood Decay. There's no crazy big difference between the last season and this one. Only that we have different tier sets and a bit more stats. So you're free to ask me any question. I will gladly answer if I can. Thank you so much for watching, have a nice day, and most probably I'm gonna make both a guide for Frost Decay and Unholy, if I will have time for it. Anyway, thank you so much for watching and see you in the next video. Bye bye.
Beneath the ice and snow, a legend awakens. I am Arthas, the Lich King ruler of the damned master of Frostmourne.